Good morning. This is Mark Johnson from Loyalty360. Hope everyone's happy, safe, and healthy today. Welcome to another edition of Loyalty Live. And Loyalty Live series where we talk to the leaders in customer channel and brand loyalty about the technology, trends, and best practices that impact a brand's ability to drive unique engagement and experience. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Sue Frech. She's the co-founder and CEO of Vesta. How are you, Sue?
I'm great. Thanks, Mark, for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. First off, we love to learn a little bit about the companies that we're talking to. So could you tell us a little bit about you and Vesta and what you guys do? It'd be great for those who don't know about Vesta. I'm sorry, Vesta, yeah, to know, sorry, you changed your name. I was going back and forth. So Vesta, what you guys do and how you do it.
Yeah, so 11 years ago, co-founded company. So Mark, while you're going back and forth, it was Social Media Link. We just rebranded to Vesta, which is our flagship product. And we build and power online communities, brand-owned communities. You know, when we started this business, it was about building a ready audience for marketers when social first was launching and that direct-to-consumer relationship. And today it's about community-powered marketing. So it's about taking those audiences and turning them into advocates and garnering insights and, of course, developing long-term and that emotional loyalty. So 11 years ago, August was our anniversary, and we rebranded the company in June.
Good. Yeah, so sorry about that. I almost ran with the old company name, but I'm glad I stuck with Vesta, so it's good. Can you share a fun fact about you? Maybe something unique, different, a passion, a quirky interest. We always like to learn a little bit more about those who we're speaking with, and it's always great to get that on a personal level as well.
Yeah, sure. I think that I always go back to this. I was actually adopted. I was abandoned on a doorstep when I was born in Vietnam, right at the end of the war, and no paperwork at all, left on a church doorstep. And my parents adopted me at about 18 months of age, moved to New Jersey, and I was 13 pounds. I couldn't talk, couldn't walk, really malnourished. So I always tell that story because people say, oh, you're so happy, you're positive, you've got such optimism. I really think my gratitude goes back to how I started. You know, I am so grateful that out of thousands and thousands of abandoned children that I was selected and feel like I was given a pretty good life and upbringing, which allows me to do what I do today. So I always find that's a little bit of a unique twist, being abandoned on a doorstep and now running a company here in the US.
That's awesome. That's a great story. I didn't know that. So now I know another fun fact. That's great. So you talked a little bit about what Vesta does. Can you give us a little more detail, kind of how you help brands? Obviously, it's a very robust community-based application. It would be good to have a little bit more detail about what you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a SaaS platform, and our platform really is designed to elevate a brand's digital presence. You know, it's a home and a destination for their customers, their consumer, their audience. The platform itself has technology that makes it easy for us to share content, branded content, make it easy for members to generate user content and also create advocacy. So it is designed for collecting insights that helps deliver personalized engagement, but also delivers the ability to have insights that garner advocacy and insights that garner information about clients, about consumers, so that they can make some better business decisions. So it's really an all-in-one platform as a way for brands to directly engage with their consumers, to build that two-way dialogue, but really that emotional loyalty or that customer relationship to a whole nother level.
Okay, great. And customer loyalty, obviously very important. Communities help brands drive that customer loyalty. It's always good to get a kind of connotative and denotative definition of what customer loyalty means to the groups that we're speaking to, brands or the technology providers. So can you define what customer loyalty means to you and to Vesta?
Yeah, so for us, here's what we love about customer loyalty. It's when a customer is loyalty, it is there to help protect your brand. You know, so whether there's a negative review or some bad press out there, there are consumers and customers that will be there to protect you. It protects from pricing. It also is there for customers that when the market shifts or new competitors come, that they will continue to buy and support your brand. So we love that we can create this army of customers that will be there again when there's a price increase, will be there when there's a new competitor, new products in the market, and will certainly be there to advocate and bring new users into brand. So that's really how we see loyalty. And again, through our platform, we're building this home and this destination to build an army of these customers that are there for you and creating that emotional loyalty.
That's awesome. So with COVID actually hitting a lot of brands, impacting a number of different industries, as you know, and what's the biggest challenge or opportunity you see right now in customer loyalty, and how do you see that changing?
Yeah, so here's what we always say was interesting. Right in March, April time period, the brands that already had a community came to us and said, okay, we already have this relationship, we have this group of individuals. How can we actually take those people and talk to them in real time, tell them about supply chain issues, or tell them about stores closing or locations closing, or how we're keeping our locations clean, and how we're keeping our employees safe. So that real-time conversation is what the communities that were already built were leveraging. The ones that came to us, in the May and June time period said, we know that this marketplace has completely shifted, that digital is more important than ever, that being online is more important than ever, and having that authentic relationship. So we're building communities weekly for brands that want to be sure that they have a two-way dialogue and that they're there and they can communicate with their customers in that near real time. And so it's everything from gaining insights back to, what do you need from us? Are you homeschooling or remote learning? Are you still work from home situation? What do you need from us? You're our customer, and they can get that through the insights. And then how can we deliver resources, and again, in shift and time. So, launching a new product, which is what brands do so well, or launching new services. But if those aren't available during, a pandemic, you have to be able to shift and move and be nimble. And we really feel that the communities allowed brands to do that, both those that were there already and ones that are being launched right now.
Okay, great. And what is a brand or a few that you think do an exceptional job of creating customer loyalty through a community, or at least augmenting their customer loyalty efforts through their community strategies?
Yeah, the brands that are doing it well, we've got a couple examples. You've got Hello Products, the oral care company. You have Seventh Generation in the natural food products. You've got Sir Kensington, a condiments company. What themes we see throughout is that there is this two-way dialogue, that they are gathering insights so that they can, again, make better business decisions, whether it's marketing or launching new products. What we're also seeing of ones that are doing well is a value exchange. So if you're going to ask a customer to do something, to advocate for me, to tell my story, to share content, in exchange, you want to make sure that you're giving them something. So what can that be? That can be everything from perks, that can be new products first, that can be samples, that can certainly be access to information, access to products first and foremost, access to content. So that value exchange is really important. And so those are the brands that are doing it well, that say, it's not about building a community just to push my brand. It's not about building an audience so I can just push more product to them. It's what can I do for them as well. And I think all loyalty programs think about that. It's not just buy my product, I give you a reward. What other value can I deliver to you through my loyalty program? And that's really how we see the brands that are most successful are doing it.
Absolutely. And if you look at kind of some brands that are leveraging communities, how are communities changing? How are brands trying to leverage them more uniquely? Is it getting zero-party data? Is it trying to kind of understand different segments for personalization efficacy? What are you doing, or what are you seeing that with brands that they're enhancing the communication processes with their customers?
Yeah, you're 100% right, Mark. It's about the data. It is certainly about the data. So we collect what we call zero-party data. That's the data that, customers and consumers are willing and freely giving up to clients and to brands. And in exchange, of course, they want better offers, personalization, personalized content. So that's really, the data becomes such a valuable tool. And I was just speaking to someone yesterday that specializes in data protection and data privacy. And so being also able to safely collect it and then being transparent with it, why you're collecting it, but also letting your customer know, this is what I'm going to do with it. If I'm going to collect your data, you're going to tell me all about you and provide me this privilege, then what are you going to do with it? I'm going to use it as a marketer to give you better offers and more relevant content and more personalization. So I think the data piece of it is really where we're seeing such a value in what we deliver to our clients. But I think the clients certainly see the value in collecting the data from their audience.
Okay. That's awesome. And you're looking at that and kind of extending on that. What is one piece of advice you would give to a brand who's looking to improve their customer loyalty strategies or experience strategies, and especially when it comes to kind of leveraging a community?
I think you said it's about the experience. I think that when you're thinking about a loyalty program or any program, you're thinking about creating a great experience. So that's everything from the product or service you deliver, but it's also their experience, any touch point they have with your brand. So that's in your social channels, in your community, certainly through the buying process, the funnel, the conversion, making it frictionless. Making it easy for them to find you. But I think that experience that you deliver and making sure you focus on what that is and the value that it delivers is important for the brand. So when we talk to them and we talk about building a community or building this program, a loyalty program, we talk about what's the experience going to be like, and it's really what's that value proposition or purpose of a community. And once we have that strategy, then the activations and the execution becomes really easy.
Okay, that's awesome. Kind of a follow-up to that, what are some of the challenges brands have with communities? You said earlier when COVID hit, you had a lot of your customers reach out to you and kind of want to increase the efficacy of their program. What are some of the challenges that brands have with communities? Is it getting people initially involved, engaged? What are some challenges that you see?
I think the biggest challenge that brands have, putting as communities even aside, is that, as a brand, you think, okay, I make a product, I have a service, and that's good enough. And it's a great product, but it's not good enough. It's about what your brand stands for. It's about what you say, what you don't say. And we're particularly seeing that now. You've got a pandemic, civil unrest, an election coming up. And it's not that you need to take a political side necessarily, but you need to be a resource. And so you need to make sure that you're very clear on what you're saying and what you're not saying. So yes, you make great products, but I think what's the biggest challenge that I see for brands, leaders, marketers today is really thinking about what else your brand stands for, what else it means. And so I think that can be a difficult, and not every brand has to have this massive brand purpose, but they do need to understand how what you communicate in your messaging and what you put out there, certainly in a community, what that effect has on people, groups of people, individuals. And I think it's really good that we've elevated that expectation, but I think it's also, you have to be careful. That can be a challenge as a leader of a company, leader of an organization, but certainly those that market consumer products. So I think the community can be there for you. You can research and put a survey out first before you put a new message out. You can understand where consumers stand and what their opinions are before you're putting out communication. So I think having that access to information and data directly from your audience is really important. But I certainly have empathy for brands today, because it's not just solely about the product you make anymore.
Absolutely. When you look at kind of the bigger picture, one of the questions we love to ask is our CMO challenge question. So if you could ask a question of a competitor, technology provider, a brand, a group of brands, what question would you ask regarding customer loyalty?
Yeah, I love asking how they measure it. How do they measure loyalty? Because I think that we're always striving as an organization to look at it really holistically. So we're talking about measuring not only through research, the loyalty itself, through sales data, of course, but how much content is being created and shared. What's that advocacy look like? What insights, the value of the insights that you're garnering. So we have tons of different touch points. We have a new partnership with a company called Brain Trust, where we're looking at getting deeper insights and analytics from the data. But I love to ask that question. How do you, as a client, as a brand, as a technology partner, how do you help your customers and your partners measure loyalty?
Okay, great. I think measurement is obviously a key, right? With all the disparate data sources they have right now, and this, the changes to Google that are coming up, and the privacy and the audience work that Apple just announced. There's obviously a lot of challenges that I think brands need to and should be focusing more on communities or directing, their efforts into, understanding the customers and keeping them engaged, because that's going to be definitely kind of a secret sauce going forward. Not that it isn't now, but with kind of the advertising restrictions coming up, I think it's going to be more difficult for brands to kind of engage a larger audience. So keeping their audience engaged and loyal is going to be probably more important than ever before.
Yeah, like you said, less reliant on third parties, third-party cookies going away, Apple iOS 14 making all those changes. We're watching that really closely. And data security, I know it scares a lot of companies, but if you're doing it right, you're collecting the data in a safe way and leveraging it in, a really powerful way. I think that, those are the companies that will stand out.
Absolutely. 5 years from now, what do you think loyalty programs, loyalty strategies, customer experience will look like? How's it going to evolve?
I think it'll continue to be about the data. I certainly think it's about that single view. You have a customer that's shopping online, that's going in store, that's also in your social channels, in your community, in your CRM. How do you bring that all together with a unified view so that you're having a communication that is logical to that customer? Because
Right.
again, they come online to chat, they've purchased something from you. There's an expectation that you give them an order number or you give them your name, that they know what type of customer it is and how often you purchase. I mean, I love United Airlines. I fly all the time. And I love that when I call, they know it's me. And then I'm sure they immediately look up that I have platinum status. And that feels good as a customer. So there's that expectation of that single view. So if I get an email, I don't want it to be that, hey, fly for the first time or join our One Pass program. Like it should be that consistent thread of that single view. And that's really an expectation. And I think that'll continue to get better as well in the future. But I'd love from your seat, Mark, you see and speak to so many companies in our space. What are you thinking about, 5 years from now? What's it looking like from your view?
One of the things that we've seen coming through COVID is that the input, input's the wrong word, but the focus on customer loyalty is definitely accelerating. There's rapid changes impacting everything from, just going through COVID and having to change their online experience or buying online, picking up in store or picking up curbside. So brands have really had to kind of deal with some uncertainty. And I think they're trying to truly engage their audience in a unique way. Listening has always been a challenge. We've heard from brands is a big challenge. So obviously data is a big piece of that, but truly listening to and understanding kind of what the customer's needs are, alignment around, charitable social causes, just more and more alignment with the customer with regard to what their expectations are and kind of more reciprocity. So, simplicity and reciprocity, I think, are really the things that we are kind of seeing more and hopefully will continue. Brands want unique engagement with the customers. They want alignment. They want simplicity. So I think that's, and I think that's what the customers are asking for as well. To be able to be listened to in an active way, not just passively heard, but do you truly listen and understand? I think that's where, we see a kind of a great interest from the brand community, but they're challenged in how to get there, right? I think they know what they're looking for and what they want, but what technologies, what processes, how different technology providers talk about their offerings can vary greatly. Again, so a need for that simplicity there as well. So I think that's what we can, we're optimistic on and optimistic around. It's just the passion around customer loyalty is definitely growing.
Yeah, I certainly see that. And I think you're so right that if you're, as a customer, you're giving up your data, these consumers are giving their data up, they expect something to happen with that information. So how does, a big brand or a company make sure that all of that data they're collecting, they then use it to actually change either their business processes, products, or services that they're offering?
Absolutely. Kind of follow up onto that. There's a current trend or a new technology or idea out today that you think brands are focusing more and more on, or they should focus more on? Is it communities? Is it data simplicity? What is kind of a trend or an idea that you think brands should be focusing on today?
Yeah, I do think, I'm sitting in a place where we build communities and believe in community powered marketing, but I think it answers everything that you said. It is about having that direct relationship. It's having that unique experience. It's certainly about taking the insights and the data, but whether it's a community in our form or it's another community. I'll say one of the trends though is certainly that brands are not relying on the social channels as much to build their audience. They certainly see it as a valuable engagement tool. They see it as a strong media platform, but they are saying, okay, I'm not sure where Facebook, Instagram is going to be in the future. Today I'm on TikTok, Snapchat, I'm not sure. So they're not putting all of their eggs in one basket. They're certainly spreading it around, but they're wanting to make sure that they protect that relationship and not relying so much on those walled gardens or the third parties. So we're definitely seeing that as a trend as well.
Okay, great. And as an association for the industry, what do you think we should be focusing on to help not only the brands and marketers, but also the organizations like yourself?
I love what you guys are doing. I think one of the greatest things you do is the peer-to-peer. I think just this ability to put smart marketers together, even in the same industry, there's certainly room for lots of competition in this marketplace. And I think that that's one of the great things that Loyalty360 does, is really brings together smart marketers and has that peer-to-peer engagement. And I think continuing on that, I think there's also a component of the end user, the consumer. I think there's ways to gather those insights and bring it back to the marketer so they can continue to make business decisions. But I love what you're doing. Everything from sessions like this to, obviously Loyalty Live, your Q&As, to your virtual conference and how you're changing your upcoming virtual conference, I think is really exciting. I think that you and the team, Carly and the team, you do such a great job at listening to your customers. So I think there's certainly something to be said to all of us, but you ask for our feedback, you do one-on-one sessions. And I just think continuing that compared to other trade organizations that are very much about pushing content out through just webinars or just e-blasts, I think that you have this relationship, and I think just continuing on that is what I hope for as being a member.
That's great. And good feedback there as well. So I think this has been very insightful. Communities are definitely growing of interest, and looking forward to hearing more from you coming up. Obviously, we do have the virtual conference coming up, so looking forward to your presentation there. And thanks for everyone for listening. And I think this is great. Any last thoughts and/or ideas, Sue?
I just thank everybody for their time. I know how busy people are, and if they take a moment to stop and listen, I'm grateful for that.
All right, great. Well, thank you very much, Sue, and look forward to talking to you soon as well. And thanks to everyone for dialing in today or listening in today. Thank you.
Thank you.